we, as through audit, or rather audit help organization to achieve the intended objectives. Now, these objectives can be at a, we'll say at an organization level. We are performing this audit does mean that organization, their business processes, policies, systems, what they have implemented, that will help them achieve. If they are, if things are working right, they will achieve their objective. If they, you found the gaps, there will be obviously a challenge to achieve the intended objective. That is one. Two, audit will help maintain. Okay, now I'm using word compliance. Okay, compliance, we are talking about audit, not the ISO 27000 audit. Is that okay? Maintain compliance with legal and regulatory requirement. I will say legal, regulatory, and contractual requirements. Okay. Next, audit will also help maintain compliance with defined policies and processes. Audit will help to maintain the CI and effectiveness and efficiency of services. So these are the prime reasons. These are some of the reasons. Sujit, I hope you are back, right?
Yeah, yes, I'm back. Yeah.
Okay, great. Now, these are some of the prime reasons that we conduct the audit. Now, whether we are testing the controls, when we test the controls, and I can add something more on the testing of the controls. Now, how to plan audit or other controls testing. Okay. There are some important areas. Any question before I get into this? Suji, Sugato?
No.
No? The primary reason why we conduct the audit is audit helps organization to achieve intended objectives. They have their objectives defined, and we are actually helping ensuring we are not carrying out that. Remember that. First of all, we are not carrying. Other frameworks, they will tell you to how to carry out that. Okay, but here we are reviewing, we are evaluating. Audit is in general what we can say the word with audit. Okay, audit is to evaluate or test or examine. Okay, we can say all these words with audit. Okay, audit is to but then what are we testing? What are we examining? What are we auditing? We are doing audit for this. We are doing, are you able to meet contractual compliance requirements? Are you maintaining your policies processes? Are you, of course, achieving, first of all, the CIA as well as the effectiveness and efficiency of the service? So these are some of the important reasons why we conduct the audit. That's one. Okay. If we know fundamentally why do we conduct the audit, then we can get into control. When we are planning for the controls test, so in general, see, this all depends on this type of control. But in general, I said, what you can verify access. Okay. Then you have, first of all, instead of access, I will say process document, process or policy document. Okay. Then whether it is document, whether it is defined, approved, published, and communicated. Document is reviewed. Then what is the frequency of a review? Okay. These are some things which you can see related to a document. Now I'll say from a control statement. So what is control statement? Okay. Now control statement for change management, we have seen that this is a control statement. When you know the control statement, you will test the control statement, test control with samples. Now there are two types of samples. One, variable sample, and statistic. We will see instead the attribute and statistical. Now attribute sample leads to the compliance or conformity. Here in case of ISO, conformity, okay, or compliance. And statistical sampling will help, like you have the numbers or volume based testing. In general, when you are testing the controls, you can first collect the samples based on this. This is actually not a part of your ISO 27000. As you get into CISA, this makes a great sense. Okay, but how to plan for controls testing is this. Okay, then you can get into access control. Okay, now there are linked controls you have to test. We can get into many linked controls with respect, but we have to limit that as well, because you will not really have a time, and neither that will be your objective of audit. We have to verify. So I hope this will help, and of course you have to report observations. So this is what you should be doing for each control. I hope, Sugato, your query is well solved with what you are expecting.
Yep.
Yeah. All set. So how many of you have actually performed that? Did you perform that?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what information gathering that you will be doing it? Information gathering. I will write this point where you can refer going forward. First, we will do information gathering. Yeah, go ahead. Tell me.
First is, what are the different types of access we have there?
One, we said process, type of access.
And the documentation that identifies access rights. When do all the, whatever types they have mentioned, are they documented?
We have that as a part of formal user registration and deregistration process shall be implemented to enable assignment of rights. You are saying access types. Okay, next.
So you need to we need to see whether the role and the user type, which user ID and user ID is allocated the proper role or not. We need to check the AD with some samples, whatever sample IDs.
Sample will come to this. So you tell me, I will write it.
Okay, so sample of certain IDs at various access levels.
what will you see? You will collect sample of the employee IDs. Okay.
Yes.
Now you have collected what employee. See, you also have to see the sample employee. You will be collecting for whom, that you will be collecting that in this again. We are going to collect the sample of IDs. For example, here sample employee IDs from HR. Okay.
Yes.
We will do a ticket from HR. Then what will you do after that?
After that, we need to match maybe a certain user whom the admin privilege is there is not supposed to have, but he has got it. So we need to check for that specifically for users who got the privileged access. Is that documented somewhere? Like, I mean, is it documented that suppose a certain H app is having an admin user? Then
We are getting into privilege rights, but the privilege rights, I'll show you the control standard. Okay. So you have managed privilege rights is separate
okay.
control. So what we will do, we will merge two controls then. We will be actually merging two controls. You are getting my point?
Yes, yes.
So if we get into privilege rights, then we are not testing this control, what we have actually discussing on.
Okay.
Yeah. So we will have to skip that. Yeah.
And there is a policy. Do they have a policy for disabling or removing user IDs? We need to see the documentation.
So you
But
have a process written, right? Access management process, which will have a grant
okay,
and revoke.
revoke.
I will
So,
say
but
grant
it
and
should be
revoke.
different for if a person goes on a leave or he goes on an internal transfer or the person is terminated. So all the three things should be covered in it.
Now, so what you are saying that you will have these some other control is linked, or we will say linked control. Some time back we have defined some guidelines. Yeah, these are the guidelines that I have defined how to plan a control. You have come on the linked control now.
Okay.
You got it?
Yes.
You are saying you have come on the link control. Now, when I say link control, which is the link control? The employee. So this is you have HR policy. Yeah,
Yeah.
is one of the link control. You may go ahead and see that what HR policy that you have. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm not saying no to that. Next.
We need to check the AD for again. We need to take samples whether there are redundant IDs, which redundant IDs with the roles which have been issued to various users or not.
Can you create redundant IDs?
But when the roles, no, we cannot create redundant. ID will be unique, but we might create a redundant role. Role might be.
That's fine. So you will have multiple roles, will have multiple access. So what are we going to test in that?
Can they have that?
No, you can have multiple roles, will have multiple access. Like example, one person has access on a router with the level 3 access. Other person can also have. That can be granted through identity access management.
Okay.
Yeah, so because that is the requirement in the organization, right? So if one person is not, yes, Snehal, 1 minute. If one person is not available, you will have second person who will be taking care of that. That's fine. Yes.
That's
Okay,
all.
we'll have Snehal. No worries. Thank you, Snehal.
I think we should have a password policy.
So you will test the password policy here.
And when you register yourself, there should be a email coming to your registered email ID or some SMS to your registered.
So how the
phone.
process, yeah, the overall process will work. You are talking about, so then we will be getting into the workflow of the,
Okay.
you are talking about the process workflow. But process workflow is a part of the process document itself.
Okay.
Yeah. So they will, of course, when see in the process document, they will not only write how to grant and how to revoke, but they will also say what
Right. The
will
entire
happen with
process.
each other, right? So
Right. Right.
yeah, so
Okay.
that will write like this. Yeah.
Okay.
Next. Sujit, you would like to add? Okay, no worries. Sugata?
Yeah, so
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Sujit.
yeah, I need some time, Mahesh. Yeah.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. What about you, Sugato?
No, I don't have anything to add.
Okay. What do we now? How do we test this?
As we discussed, like we need to take sample.
Yes, we have a samples. So what do we do on this sample?
We need to. I mean, it depends on the what's the scenario. Like if we have to check the access, what kind of access they got, we can cross check according to the documentation.
Correct. Okay. What this process,
The sample could be a successful and a failure, right? Or
right?
two different
Yeah,
scenarios.
correct. Correct. I do agree. Now, sample you will have for creation and deletion. Is that okay?
Okay.
Creation and deletion. That you will have a sample. Now, my question is, what will you test on this? You have a sample. What will you do? Now, when you say sample, may I now?
Yeah. Yes.
We
Okay.
can,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Akshita.
after collection of samples, we can limit the shared access.
Why do we say limit the shared access? There is nothing like we limit or we allow. That is none of our business. That is none of my business as an auditor. What am I supposed to do? I have this things with me. I'm going to test. Now, when I'm testing this, I will first verify the process awareness. Process or policy awareness with the respective people. That's one. Do they have access to process or policy document? What is indicating with this? Am I looking at the process document here? Everyone? Rohit? Am I looking into the process document?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
No, I'm not. I'm only verifying
Sample, right?
whether they are aware of the process. For example, I will ask you, okay, can you please tell me about the user, that is access management process? The person will be start explaining, provided he is aware of. That means what has happened, if you look at 7.3, the policies, processes, communication and creating awareness is well done. I hope you are getting my point.
Okay. This towards the education part of it, like
You are very, you have a process document. Is that okay? What if the process document is there, but people are not even aware of it? Will they be able to follow that? No. So you are verifying whether the process document awareness is there. Now, when I'm asking them, would you please open the process document? What am I actually achieving out of this? Whether they have access to this document or not. Yes or no? Yeah, I have verified that. If they do not have access, what are they going to follow? As simple as that. They will not be able to follow that. Next, what will I be doing? That when I know the process of granting, I will say, I have a samples. I will say sample test. Now, how will I do it? Will you please open this ID? I would like, or the service request or access request. Now, access request will show you everything, that who has requested, who has approved, when was created, whether it is closed, open, state, everything. If this is done, fantastic. Then you can see that access request is still open after 6 months. Then you can certainly sense what is happening in the organization. I hope you are getting my point. Yeah. Now, similarly for the access request. Now, when I say access request, you have the approver. Do you have a record of approval? Is that okay? You can also verify with this, you have received that the number of employees I created, deleted. Out of that sample, you can pull out for the deletion record. Verify deletion record. Okay. Now, I want to know from the generic understanding on access management. When will you be deleting, disabling and deleting the employee IDs? Are you aware of that? In general, access management process, are you aware of that? When will you be deleting, disabling and deleting?
When the employee is terminated.
Terminate,
When the employee resigns.
resign,
Or is
Suspension.
shifted to some other team.
Internal transfers also.
Yeah.
change location. Okay, good. Now I have a question from a process point of view. My question was more on a process point of view. Sugato, are you aware of the process where when the disable and delete will happen?
Yeah. So once a person resigns, or say for example,
last
if
day
it, say for
is
example,
like-
if it is an identity card that is or access card that has been used to access, so it is disabled first, and if it is confirmed that it is lost, then they will delete it.
Okay, fair. Now from a employee ID point of view, okay, from a employee ID, today is 20th and today is my last day of working. What will be happening? Is IT will be deleting or disabling?
No, ID will be disabled. It will not be deleted.
ID will disable.
Disable. Yeah.
And when will you delete this?
There will be certain time frame. Like
Great.
Yeah. There will be-
Great. This indicates that your awareness on the access management process. Is that clear? And I said that sometime back, you need to have a subject matter expert. You need to know this. Otherwise, this is going to become a challenge. I repeat, this is going to become a challenge. What did we say? You disable and delete. Now you will have disable and delete. Now you should know when to disable, when to delete. That is written in the process. I repeat, that is written in the process. The process says that, now one more story here, that last day of the month, okay, it is written, that is fantastic. If it is written in the process document, I repeat, every 30th of the month, is it right statement? I said, is it a right statement?
No.
Why it is not right?
Every month does not have 30 days.
Yes, February will not have 30 days.
Right.
So this is a wrong statement. You got my point?
Last day of the month.
Last day of the month is the right statement. So I will not delete anything. This is for your understanding. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So now what you have done, ideally such things should have been verified in the document, phase 1 document, but it did not happen. That's fine, but nothing wrong. You are here and you are verified. The statement is written like this. This should not be there. You have observation. You can write it. This may be, is of course, minor non-conformity. You may give major. It is absolutely up to your discretion and the impact of that in the organization. Now, you can test the such samples, verify whether the process is being carried out as defined. That should be your job. That should be your job. Now, I can go to the linked processes. Now, when the design, now who has raised this request? I can verify. When was, of course, requested, when was deleted. And I have an experience that many a time that you will find that employee IDs are not deleted. That is something a blunder. Do you agree? That is something a blunder. We will come to major minor as we come and understand the conformity drafting, non-conformity drafting basically. I think we are done with that. We are done with that. And now you can also see, you can test whether the process, any modification to the process, change in the process, changes in the policy, when has happened, has it communicated, all that you can verify as a part of your, but of course with your user registration and deletion. So important point here is this access control will help organization to achieve their compliance requirement with various contractual and of course, legal regulatory requirements. So this is one of the most important area in every standard. So as in 27,000 as well, from a security point of view. All right. So I think we are done on that. Now you may wish to see what types of IDs and all. So it again, what areas that they have an impact. So you can verify that as well. Okay. But this is absolutely up to the organization challenges that they are facing. On that note, I will move from this topic to the next one. What we have is on the opening meeting agenda. Okay. Now, when I say opening meeting agenda, you will have the members who will be reaching out on the site. Okay. This is like you have prepared your audit plan, your audit checklist, you're on site, you have auditors selected, you have they are ready, they have actually traveled, and you have, instead of reach out, you will be on site here. I would like to hear from you, what would be the agenda of opening meeting? What would be the agenda of opening meeting?
Introduction, scope.
Yeah, introduction, scope. What is this introduction and scope? Scope, what is that? I didn't understand.
Introduction is about the firm, like about the details of the firm. What are they spread into? Span of the.
Do we really need to discuss now? We are here on a phase 2 opening meeting.
Phase 2 opening meeting.
We did everything. Now we are here for whatever test cases that you have prepared, right? You will be testing this, you will be testing IDs, you will be testing for each control that you have a test ready. You have people, you have selected who will do what, with which auditee, when, everything is ready, plan. Now what will you do here in this opening meeting? All set. I'll give you a minute before I start explaining. Snehal, any points that you have? Suji?
No.
Oh, Mahesh.
Okay. Sugato?
I think I said it right. So it should be what is the agenda, right? So you said start with the agenda, you introduce the people, you talk about what scope, you take a buy-in from if there is an NDA, just ensure that the NDA is there. Buy-in from by the client.
Okay.
So Mahesh, I just want to add, like, phase 1, we had taken all the documentation and everything
Right.
with us. Now,
Right.
phase 2, what happens is, like, in a company, there might be certain sub-departments. So
You're right.
I tell them, so we are going to undertake checks of this particular department. in particular,
Mm,
rather than like we already have the documentation of all the departments, but then we might choose, we take out finance maybe.
mm,
Yeah,
mm.
you can have the audit plan as well, right? So
Yeah.
when you talk with the team, just introduce the audit plan, how long it is going to be, right? Is it going to be for a week? Is it going to be for 24 days? What it is going to be,
Correct.
right?
Also, the arrangement needed for the audits can be done.
There in the opening meeting.
Yeah, like audit plan, and with that the arrangement for the audit to be conducted.
So I'll fundamentally clear. Thank you very much. I have heard each one of you. Appreciate that. My dear friend, when we say audit plan, okay? So when we are planning this, what do we actually do? We will prepare the audit plan like this. We have a department role, audit member, audit test case, date, the time, process, policy, system, and all these things that we are going to, we have a template we will prepare. Now, we will not share this thing with the auditee. Rest we will share. What will happen when we share these things like auditee department? What we said, department, auditee, auditor, date, time, as well as policies, processes, and system that we are going to verify. Is that clear? So for example, we have auditee as HR and the auditor, okay, that you have, for example, we will say Snehal. Okay. Date 28th or 25th. Time 10 a.m. Okay. And she's going to verify the joining process, employment agreement. You will have the drug testing policy. You have some things which you have related to the exit policy and whatnot. So we will have, this will be for 1 hour. This will be for 1 hour. The plan will include all these factors along with the auditor's observations and the auditee's remarks. Non-conformity, yes, no, and what is this non-conformity against all about. So you will have this plan. Plan is prepared well before the audit when you meet your stakeholders for the kickoff meeting. Is my statement ready and clear?
Yep.
Are you in sync with my statement?
Mhm.
Now, are you in sync with my statement? What did I say? That you have the plan ready and shared with the guide well in advance. You may consider 30 days advance. Is that okay? Guide will internally take it this to various departments, Rohit. If there is a change in the time, no HR member, he or she is not available on this and that time, we'll have to shift this to some other audit, and provided Snehal can accommodate with the other audit, and we will have to have, instead of this, we may have to change the day and all. That can also happen here. Is my statement clear? Now, whatever changes to the plan, timing, that will happen. In general, it may be possible that you have identified some risk and the respective department would like to see those risks is not covered. You may wish to add that as well. You may have to add and perform some test or prepare some test on that as well. Provided this auditee is matured enough and the organization is matured enough. If they are not, it is at a discretion generally with the guide and the auditor. Okay, lead auditor and auditor, that will come up. Now coming back to the point, now we have plan ready, finalized, and then we are coming on site here. I hope now everyone is clear. Snehal?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so we are clear. Now we have plan ready. What are we supposed to do here in opening meeting? We will present the, first of all, the plan, and we will get confirmation of all activities that will be carried out. First is The plan is there is no changes in the plan in last 15 days, 30 days, whatever before that you have finalized. That is 1. 2, we can carry out all activities. 3, you will obviously have the maybe introduction with the stakeholders. That is 3. 4th one, during the audit, how communication flow will happen. You will have a daily, weekly report that we are supposed to share. If you found some major non-conformity leading to compliance and legal issues, how that will be communicated. Next, you will have the agenda of closure will be discussed in opening meeting. That presentation as well as the end of the audit. You will also have some exceptions where in such situations how audit can be terminated. Does mean, I repeat, does mean the audit, if you find some legal issues and the frauds, if you found during the audit, this audit can be terminated. Now, client comes up and says that we have some change in the audit plan. Earlier we had 2 locations. Now we have added 1 more location and we want you to do phase 1 audit for that location in this, of course, visit itself. Will you be able to accept that?
No,
Any specific reason?
because we do not know what scope it is, right? And then we have already
We don't know. Very good. Very good. We don't know scope. Next.
we already have commitment of a timeline given
Yes,
for
this
one
is
side.
exactly the point I will stick to. I have each auditee and auditor with the fixed time. I have selected the auditor. I do not know what systems that they have, what processes, policies. We really don't know. Now, can we deny? No, we cannot do that here. Everyone. Can we deny? Can you deny this to this person? Sujit. Yes, Rohit. Waiting for response. Snehal. Snehal.
No, we can't.
How then what will you do? Then you have to accept that yes, you will carry out. Sugato mentioned, no, you cannot. You are saying you cannot deny. What will you do? You have to politely reject this. You have to make a note. You have to first make a note of this. Yeah, you can buy the time and communicate to your certification body. We can come back if they can arrange some more members and they can discuss with guide, for example, separately, and we can take it up. Or you can discuss with guide separately and come out. But you cannot say upfront no here. You can politely pass this topic and we want to add. So, but you cannot, they also understand. Last moment changes are not accepted. So that is something, but you don't know the client. So here you go. This is what we discussed. This is what we discussed.
Yes.
Okay. Hmm?
Yeah.
Any questions that you may have? Sugato, any question?
No.
All right, so we are done. You will have a question in exam for sure. Okay, on this, I will guide you on that question. So there is, before that, we said that confirm the agreement of all participants, introduction to audit team, and the ensure that plan audit activities can be performed. So this is what is the agenda of opening meeting. You will have a question in exam, the agenda of opening meeting, and you should be focusing on the overall. You should be writing these 3 steps. You should be writing these 3 points. Okay, and I will guide you how to answer this in your exam. Now, we did say that audit objectives, audit plan. So formal communication, language, audit is being kept informed about progress, matter relating to confidentiality and all these things. Okay. So how to deal possible findings, conduct conditions under which audit may be terminated. I did say that as well. So we did discuss on that. Okay, that's all. So purpose of phase 2, very clear that we are here for effectiveness and efficiency of ISMS. Okay. Now auditor role, you must be very clear that we are here to test, evaluate, or you can say that examine what the effectiveness of ISMS and efficiency of the ISMS. Now we will get into some professional ethics of auditor. When I say professional ethics, my friends, professional ethics, like any points that you would like to share before I explain?
Confidentiality.
Yeah, you should maintain that. Okay. Next.
Integrity.
That's fine.
Fairness.
Yeah. Next. Okay. No worries. Any other members would like to add, participate? That's fine.
We should first listen everything and then answer.
Appreciate
And
that.
noting down things.
Yeah. Noting down the changes. Fantastic. Really wonderful point. Wonderful point. Okay. That is something which is remarkable and I like that. Okay. Auditors professional ethics is like, members, make sure that you have, so introduction to auditor and auditee, you have thank auditee for the time slot, informing or giving confidence on purpose of audit. In general, what happens is that people get scared when the audit comes up. You are not here to take anybody's job, but they feel accordingly. So you have to give them a confidence about the purpose of audit. Okay. Understand IS specific requirement document prepared by organization. So you don't jump to the conclusion and try and don't bring your expertise. See what organization have defined and accordingly try and conduct your audit test cases. Limit your audit based on scope. Be focused on statement of applicability and respect organization best practices. The business practices, something which you should be. And I like that point where if at all you have, you can see this. Yeah. Behave professionally, be polite and punctual. Avoid conflicts in general. Okay. The change in the scope, no limit. And I did mention some time back as well. And we have discussed it. No religious or political discussions. Do not get into a mode of consultant. So this is something really important. As an auditor, you are not supposed to be a consultant. You should not be guiding them, because this is a certification audit. I repeat, this is a certification audit. Okay, you are not supposed to, unless they ask, they do not have a clarity. You can give some inputs, but don't get into a consulting. You are not the one who will be implementing that. Okay, this is very important, especially, yeah, so not especially in India, everywhere in the world. Yeah, so I've seen that whenever I travel, that we do not get into this. So what is happening around the world, why COVID initiated, who was involved, who have gained, who have lost, how we are struggling, how you are growing, stop. That's none of your business here. Please be careful. Okay, please be careful. Maintain professional association. Yes, you have to. It is not that you are talking to robots. You have to maintain. This is something which you have. Do not accept any gifts or favor. This happens in many of the audits. You have to be very careful. You have to be, I'll give an example. In general, there are some compliance audits, but not related to 27,000 also. There are some compliance audits where you will find they will try to, or some banks, which are government banks, the employees are like, they are trained to, of course, handle the auditors. So this is something a big challenge. They try to gift some items and all. I know that, for example, CE certificate, which is product selling in a specific country. Okay. And that CE certificate is required. Electrical products selling. And so they will have a millions or billions of dollars of business based on that. They will try to gift many things, but you should not be accepting. So this is immediately highlighted. So be careful with that. That can be a trap as well. So don't get into any such things. So you have to maintain the professional ethics. Now, next, of course, you have to, as I said, the vote of thanks for the time slot initially and after the audit as well. Okay, and we will do some practice after lunch for sure. We will do some practice. Now we'll come to questioning techniques. Now we have prepared what to test, what to look for. Okay, any of the controls that you have done, we will be taking some, of course, questioning techniques, how to conduct the audit post lunch. Okay. The point here is about questioning techniques. Avoid yes or no questions. I repeat, avoid yes or no question. That is something really important. 1. 2. Audit is fact finding, not a fault. Don't try to drill or a grill so as you will get something out of it. Okay. So ask open-ended questions where audit meaning, sometime back, Snehal mentioned. Okay. I would like to ask you one simple question. Do you know where this audit term came from? Any idea? Where is this audit term have originated? How this is originated? Any word that you can match with this audit? Rohit? Rohit? You are on mute.
No, Mahesh. Just I'll Google it.
Yeah. So what about you, Sugato? Any idea? Any matching
No,
word for audit?
no.
Audio. Audios. Listen. Audit
Audience?
word. Audio.
Audio.
Audio. Okay.
Audio. Listen more and talk less. So when you ask open-ended questions, can you explain your access management process? You raised one simple question and the auditee will keep going on. Do you agree?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you please help me understand the employee termination process? Such questions will lead to, there are a lot of policies, we are aware, backup related, internet related, you have the folder access, your encryption related, network security, firewall, what not. So you will get many, of course, topics to discuss, but you should not get dragged with that. That is something which you have to be careful. Now, moving forward with so questions should be restricted to your scope, SOA, as well as international standard document prepared by, and as well international standard requirement, and the document prepared by organization. Do not raise chain of question. The meaning to that here is that sometime generally it happens, can you log into the system and you have a sample to test? You are supposed to stick to your information security incident management, but you are getting into changes, problems, releases, and then you are getting into service levels, you are getting to capacity. Come on, hold on. Hold your horses. So there is no way. You may try and link as much as you with your experience, but stick to what control is saying. Limit to what control is saying. That is something which is very important. Yeah. keep your evidence requirement within the audit cycle. Now, in general, we know audit cycle at least once in a year. So within 12 months period, your evidence is requirement that you should be pulling out. We set this on that. Yeah. Ask audit members specific questions, like specific to you are talking to a L2 and you are raising a questions on policy design. That has zero meaning. You are talking to the process champion and you are discussing on a operational activities, zero meaning. You are discussing with your top management and raising a questions related to the, for example, related to the specific device security or maybe some areas of the BAU. That has no meaning. So you have to be very careful who's your auditee and what is your question relevant to that auditee. So these are some of the important points that you have related to the audit things. Okay. So now when you raise a question, you should also make sure that it should lead to the evidence. You are raising the question which has no meaning. Okay. That does mean there is a process and you're asking, can you show me incident management process or the process related to risk assessment or a risk treatment, which you already received, there is no sense. But when you say that, for example, related to evidences, I would like to see, I have seen the change. This is the change number. And the change was for one of the policy creation. I would like to see that, whether the policy exists. You had the policy created, it was deleted, but there is no change. That is the evidence. That means there was some change has happened. It is not even mentioned in a configuration management, and neither it is there in a change management. That's how you will find the gaps. Okay. All set. So that's all from a questioning technique. So you have to be careful. What one is, you should not ask yes or no. You should avoid basically. Some questions questions are inevitable that you will ask, that unavoidable, yes or no. But have open-ended questions and lead to the relevant evidences. That should be your target. So on that note, we will be getting into what you can have the questions coming up as a part of your audit test cases. We will be conducting some scenarios post lunch. Okay. Thank you.